Hello guys and welcome back to the 2023-24 SDPN NHL season previews. Next up we have a team hoping to finally make the playoffs, finally get over that hump in the Ottawa Senators. But do they have the team to do it in this stacked Atlantic division? We'll watch till the end because we're breaking down their entire offseason to see what's next. But before we get into the preview, let's shout out our sponsor for all the season previews in Sports Interaction. Get in the action and make your bet with Sports Interaction. The MLB season's coming to a close, a lot of tight games to bet on, but before the game or live and in play of all your favorite teams, head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN or download the app to get started. 19 plus. Please play responsibly. Now for the Sens team, after getting 86 points last year and failing to really be as competitive as they wanted, they went out and got some big offseason additions. Lost a little bit, which we'll get into. But when we look at what they acquired this offseason, you first have Vladimir Tarasenko, who they signed on to go to this Ottawa top six. And it's a really interesting addition for them. 31 years old, turning 32 this December. You can see, still has a lot to give. And over these past couple of years, St. Louis with New York has put up some great numbers offensively. One of the better 5v5 scorers in the league, one of the best 5v5 players. He's a player, though, that can bring a lot to the power play still, a lot to the 5-on-5 game. On that top line, can be a good finisher they really want. Now on to the next player they got Dominik Kubalik in the Alex DeBrincat deal. He's another scorer who could be in an interesting role. Last year, got 45 points in 81 games. He had a fantastic start and then kind of petered off in that second half. We'll see which Dominik Kubalik the Sens end up getting, but should still be a solid middle six scorer either way. You also got, of course, Joonas Korpisalo, who rounds out that goaltending tandem and becomes the starter there. Could be the starter that Ottawa needs. We'll see how much he's able to unlock there. Was fantastic under LA's defense in a 921 save percentage in 11 games. Solid under Columbus's atrocious defense, getting a 913 save percentage. So if he's around that 915, 918 area, to me for the Sens, that's a goaltender they've been missing for a very long time, and a starter that could put them over the top. Now, as for the players that they lost this offseason, of course, the big one is Alex DeBrincat, who they pretty much had to trade away. He goes to the Detroit Red Wings and to a division rival who they'll be competing with this next year, which is a really tough thing to do. But they do, of course, get the Dominik Kubalik deal out of it, and Zabrango and all the other picks they got. But this last year, 66 points in 82 games. Even if he did have a down year, that is still a rough player to lose. You also lose Nick Holden on that defense and Cam Talbot on the goaltending group, but really DeBrincat is the big loss here. But now let's move on to the three players to watch and three players that I think could be instrumental to the Sens getting back in the playoffs. Now, Joonas Korpisalo would have been a part of this if we hadn't just talked about him a lot in the players they acquired. These are three guys that are already on the team before that can make a big difference. The first one for me is Josh Norris, who they were out for most of the season last year. 8 games last year, 3 points, but before that, 35 goals, 55 points in 66 games. This is a goal scoring presence they lost all throughout the year. Having him back in that second line center role is huge for them and the exact type of offensive presence they were missing. Then going on my second and third player to watch, these are two D-men that are going to be huge for them. The first is Thomas Chabot, who last year was pretty rough, all things considered. Got 41 points in 68 games. Health is going to be a big thing to keep an eye on with Chabot as well over these last few years. It hasn't really been all working out for him, but putting it all together will be huge. Defensively, though, this is where I want to see the biggest improvement. He was dreadful last year in a lot of ways, and to me, needs to improve, at least become capable defensively, which last year he just really wasn't. And to me, that is really what Ottawa could really use. And especially as an offensity, a little bit more points would also help there too. Also, for my third player to watch, I got Artem Zub, who was another player that was injured a lot last year, only played 53 games, and the games that he did play weren't amazing. But before that, the 2 seasons he had with Ottawa, he was one of the most efficient, quiet, smooth defensemen. And to me, getting back to that level is going to be huge. Likely on that middle pairing, potentially with Jake Sanderson. To me, getting back to that great defenseman game is going to really help Ottawa's defense. And if he does, Ottawa's defense actually looks pretty solid here. Now, we'll get into that defense in a second here. Let's start out with a forward group here, though, that looks fantastic. Even though I do think it's a little bit of a downgrade comparatively to last year, losing to Brinkett. Still, though, you get Tarasenko and Kubalik, which maybe could equal that type of value. You get Josh Norris back, which is huge. And, of course, players like Tkachuk, Stützle, Giroux, they're all going to be elite. Maybe we see upgrades out of seasons out of Shane Pinto, Ridley Gregg as well. And the Sens forward group looks pretty great. I give them a straight A, some solid weapons all around, but especially offensively, a lot to work with. And then we go on to this Sens defense, which has so much interest heading into next season. Will they actually be a competent decor? Well, one can only hope. Now, For me, health is a big thing here. If Shabbat, Chikrin, and Zub stay healthy, that is humongous for them. Shabbat hopefully taking the next steps. Hopefully Chikrin having a full season. Jake Sanderson having a solid sophomore season. Zub, again, getting back to a good level. Hopefully we see Eric Brandstrom have an even better season. His production wasn't great last year, but he played pretty solid offensively. Hopefully we see some points to back that up. Overall, this defense should be solid. It should be pretty okay. I give them a straight B. If they stay healthy, it might actually not be a weakness this time around, which is crazy to think about. And then we go into the goaltending, which also might not be a weakness for them. You got Jonas Korpisalo, who has shown some great things over the last year and hopefully can come out in a big way as a true starter in Ottawa. But also you got Anton Forsberg, who's been pretty underrated over these last few years. Maybe wasn't as good as I would have hoped for this last season, but as a backup is probably one of the better ones out there and a really underrated goaltender. I give the goaltending tandem a B+. As of right now, I think it actually looks pretty good. But here's the thing. What could hold the Ottawa Senators back? Well, going to my biggest question mark, is DJ Smith the head coach that's going to be able to take them to that next level? That to me is the biggest thing. We've seen, especially last year, how DJ Smith was close, it seemed like, to being fired completely. Hey, to me, it just hasn't felt like he's put the systems in place to really let this Sens team succeed. But he's also, again, dealt with teams that haven't had the best rosters, have had some injury troubles. Maybe this year is the year that he is able to put it all together with this roster. But I just got to say, do not be surprised if maybe the Sens start out slow and we see him fired almost immediately. But I'm going to say the Sens do pretty solid this season and being right there in the thick of the playoff race around that Islanders tier. I'm going to say a 93 to 96 points, likely 5th in that Atlantic division, another team that's going to be hunting for those wildcard spots. Will they get it? We'll have to find out. But again, to me, that question mark with coaching, that might be the biggest difference over playoffs or not. Let us know in the comments down below with how much of a fringe team this is in Ottawa. Are they a playoff team, or do they miss yet again? Do they disappoint again this next season? Let us know all your thoughts. Of course, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell if you guys enjoyed this season preview. A lot more coming out, 32 teams in 32 days. And thank you guys for all the support on every single one. Again, you guys have been killing it all the time. We appreciate that so much. Thank you so much for watching this one. A lot of fun to break down this Senators team. But of course, share the video with all the hockey fans, all the Sens fans you guys know online. We'll see you in the next season preview. Have a great day and goodbye.